Welcome! We're about to dive into an explainer that's going to completely change how you study for your shampoo and styling exam. We're going to look past just memorizing rules and really uncover the one core idea that once you get it, makes passing this test so much easier. Okay, let's just jump right in. Before we even get into the specifics, let's get to the absolute heart of the matter. What is the one thing your licensing exam is truly designed to test? It's not just about how skilled you are with a round brush or if you know all the product ingredients. When you boil it all down, this exam is testing your dedication to keeping the public safe and earning their trust. That's the whole game. This quote right here, this is everything. Licensure is a public trust. Let that sink in. Every single question on that exam, whether it's about a comb or about communication, it all comes back to this one central idea. Once you start seeing the test through this lens, the right answers practically jump off the page. So let's reframe how we're looking at this. This isn't just a random list of rules you have to cram into your brain. It's a test of your ability to uphold the professional standards that protect every single person who sits in your chair. And the very first boundary of that public trust is your scope of practice. Now, this isn't a guideline or a suggestion. It is the black and white legal definition of what you can and cannot do. Knowing this inside and out, absolutely non-negotiable. First up, pillar number 1, mastering your tools. Let's talk about how the exam wants you to think about your equipment. And here's a little hint. Every single item, from a simple comb to a curling iron, is seen as a potential safety risk that you are responsible for managing. Now, this is not just a good habit. In the eyes of the PSI exam, this is a mandatory pre-service inspection. Before any tool even thinks about touching a client, you have to verify it's clean, it's undamaged, and it's working exactly like it's supposed to. This is a huge safety check you will definitely be tested on. And just look at how absolute this rule is. There is no gray area here. You don't use it carefully, you don't try some temporary fix. The second a tool is damaged, it's out. End of story. It has to be taken out of your station right away. Okay. Here's a huge tip. The exam loves to test you on process, and this 3-step sequence is a total classic. You have to know it in this exact order. First, you clean off all the visible stuff with soap and water. Second, you disinfect it with an EPA-registered product. That's the Environmental Protection Agency, so you know it's legit. And third, you store it in a clean, covered container to keep it safe. This visual makes it perfectly clear. You can never, ever let clean and dirty tools mix. The exam will for sure test this. You've got to know that clean tools go into a covered, protected space, while your used tools are kept totally separate in their own spot until they can be properly disinfected. All right, you ready? Let's put this into practice with a classic PSI-style question. You're about to start, you pick up a curling iron, and you see the cord is frayed. What is the only correct, legally sound thing to do? And the answer is C, of course. Trying to tape the cord or just deciding to use it carefully, those are exactly the kinds of unsafe shortcuts that will always be wrong answers on this exam. The only legally correct action is to take that piece of equipment out of service immediately. All right, so our tools are safe. Now we can move on to pillar number 2, protecting the client. Our entire focus now shifts to the person in the chair. Their safety is more important than anything else. The PSI exam rewards what's called protective behavior. It's really just a fancy way of saying you need to think ahead. Is your client draped correctly to protect their skin and clothes? Have you checked in to make sure they're comfortable? Are you watching for even the smallest sign of irritation? Remember, safety always, always comes before speed. Here's another super common scenario. A client is in your chair, ready for a shampoo. Now, all of these things are going to happen eventually, but the exam wants to know your absolute first priority when it comes to their protection. And the correct answer is C, drape the client. Why? Well, because you have to establish that physical protective barrier before any other part of the service, like turning on the water, even begins. Protecting their skin and clothes is always step number 1. And that brings us to our final pillar, and it's a big one, defending your license. This is all about protecting your career by understanding the professional rules that maintain that public trust we've been talking about. A major focus on the exam is professional honesty. You can never, under any circumstances, misrepresent your qualifications or the license that you hold. That is a really serious violation. This means you have to be super precise. If you have a shampoo and styling license, that is your title. You can't call yourself a cosmetologist or even hint that you can perform services that are outside your specific legal scope. And this table here, it really lays it all out, doesn't it? Whether it's practicing outside your scope, failing to follow those critical sanitation rules, or being dishonest about your license, the consequences are serious. They can all lead to disciplinary action from the state board. Okay, here's an ethical dilemma the exam will almost certainly throw at you. A client asks you for a service that you know you are not licensed to perform. What's the professional and the legally correct way to handle that? And I want you to burn this into your memory. Nothing overrides the law. Not a client's permission, not a signed waiver, not even a supervisor telling you it's okay. The only correct action is to politely refuse and explain that the service is outside your legal scope of practice. So let's boil this all down. To pass the PSI exam, and honestly, to build a great career, you just need to live by these 3 simple rules. Always inspect your tools before you use them. Always put your client's protection first. And always, always operate strictly within your legal boundaries. And we'll just end with this thought. Mastering these rules isn't really just about passing a one-time test, is it? It's about building the foundation for a professional reputation that's going to earn you a lifetime of public trust.